Hello and welcome to Grumpy Old Men. We are here, grumpy as ever, and with the grumpiest of grumps, Mike and Kev. Welcome. Mike, we're kicking off with you.
Yeah.
People who park right next to you.
This happened to me at the weekend. I was out with the dog, actually, funnily enough, another theme of dogs. Took him down to the beach, and it's one of those things at this particular part of the beach. I hadn't been there for a while. It was the last time I went there, I got a parking ticket.
Yes, I remember that.
I did that thing where you think, it's never...
With your partially deaf dog.
This time, actually, I actually paid. I went on the app.
What?
And paid for the parking.
Oh, come on.
I did.
You don't want to get another ticket.
Was that because you needed to make a point to one of your children about paying for parking?
It was partially that, yes.
You got a ticket yourself, didn't you, in the same place, didn't you?
I did, because I thought
so
there's never any wardens here. And there weren't.
Who'd come all the way out here to give me a ticket?
Yeah.
But you're not risking that again. Yeah,
no, so for £1.70, I parked my car, right?
Yep.
And because they put a load of bays in, it means that there's hardly ever any cars there, because people, generally speaking, don't want to park there because they don't want to pay, unless the permit's bit down there. So I'm parked literally by the side of the road. There's all those diagonal ones on the other side where the beach is, and they're all empty. I'm sitting pretty much, when I park the car and I walk the dog across the road, the only car there, right? When we finished walking on the beach for about an hour, which was lovely, beautiful day, tide was out, I come back up, there's a guy parked right behind me, right behind the car. And because of the way that the car is, it's a hatchback, effectively. Well, it's in fine.
So you can get the hatch up.
Well, I could get the hatch up, but the dog needs a certain amount of space
to get in,
into it. But I'm thinking, regardless of whether I have a dog, why is this bloke, literally that's one car there. There's no other cars in the street. He's gone there, right behind me.
It's the herding instinct.
And I just thought, what is wrong with people that do that? Same in car parks, where I've had it, where you park in a car park, and I usually try and park somewhere where there isn't, it's not incredibly busy, and you can have 10 spaces either side, and some bozo comes and parks right next to you.
Yeah.
So you can't open the
driver's door.
So you can't open the door without banging the car. I just don't know what people do that for.
I think it's herding instinct.
Really?
They see someone and they want to be with other people.
Or a lack of spatial awareness.
When you go to a station, I get it all the time at London Bridge Station here, that there's an entrance onto the platform. And so people just go on there and they all stand there.
Yes.
Like 100 of them.
Yeah.
And the rest of the platform, which goes down 100, is nice and empty. So all you got to do is walk 20 yards.
Isn't that usually school groups?
Well, no. It's just everybody. People they are naturally inclined to just be with other people.
Well, they're the same people that in a queue will stand that little bit too close to you, where you're just there going, can I help you? You can feel the breath on your neck.
It's a safety in numbers. That person who parked next to you, if he'd arrived at the car park and there's no other cars in there, he'd have been totally confused.
Right. He probably would have gone home.
Yeah.
There was nowhere to park.
I'm totally baffled, though, by that mentality, because I would rather be as far away from everybody. Maybe like your friend, the Mancunian, who says maybe we just don't like being near other people. I just don't want to be near anybody else.
I've never picked that up off either of you two, that you don't like to be near other people.
I don't mind being near them. I just don't want to be parked near them.
I certainly don't want them parked so close to me I can't open the door of my car.
No. Or so close in front or behind.
But it's like that one so there is a car park local to me, which is attached to the supermarket, but you've got to pay for it.
Oh, yes. We've got one of those as well.
And they've done it. Do you remember you used to get that thing where you could have your parking validated?
Yes.
Nobody validates parking
No, this place still does where I am.
Oh,
it's only £1 to park, but they'll literally give you £1 back.
It's a religion in America. It's a religion.
This one is sort of... it's I live in the home county.
Yeah.
So the car park is proliferated by 4x4 vehicles.
Yeah, of course.
All right? And the bays aren't
They're too big.
For the car.
The bays are too small. That's the problem.
But also there's that other thing when some people are getting out of their cars. You pull in, right? They've just pulled in.
Yeah.
And they are getting out of their car in their own merry time.
Oh, yeah.
Which means their door is open against your door and you can't get your door open. It's like...
Yeah.
So then you put the window in. Are you going to be long? Sorry.
Yeah.
It's like, can you get out of the way? I'd want to get out of my bloody car.
Well, that's another one, isn't it? That's like petrol stations, and you're waiting for the pump. And they come out of the petrol station having paid, and then they get in the car, and they don't drive off.
No, get on with it.
And it's like, come on, off you go.
Maybe that's a grump for another week.
Could be.
Because Kev has another specific grump.
Katie Price.
It's Katie Price.
So he's gone from just attacking things to people, just attacks people.
Just
having a go at
people. Make me grumpy now. Come on then, what's up with Katie Price?
I'll tell you what it is with Katie Price.
Where do we start?
I mean, obviously she's been a very irritating person her whole life. But she's had so many plastic...
I mean, this is former glamour model Jordan, for anybody who doesn't know, is now...
She hasn't been called Jordan for about half a century.
Well, I mean, we're old.
For anybody of a certain age, she used to be Jordan.
Yeah. Do you remember when she was married to Peter Andre?
I think I read that she's literally has something like 78 plastic surgery operations. Now, do you remember that woman who recently died?
That saves her age, then.
Do you remember that woman who recently died, Jocelyn Wildenstein?
Oh, yeah.
It was the Swiss woman who lived in...
I'm sure that was...
Well, she recently died.
Was that recent?
About last few months, actually. Okay. Fairly recent.
I didn't even know she had that.
Yeah, no, it was only about 2-3 months ago.
Crikey.
Anyway,
she looked like a cat.
So she kept having plastic surgery. And at a certain point, it's like God's work is lost.
Yes.
And your face is now being built by human beings, by people who aren't artists.
Praised human beings.
Yeah, by surgeons.
Maniacs.
Right? So just like Jocelyn Wildenstein reached the point where her plastic surgery stopped improving her looks, but started making her look really horrific. Katie Price has reached that point now. I've been looking at pictures of her in Dubai. I mean, God knows, she was coming out of the sea. She looked like the creature from the Black Lagoon. It's really worrying.
She's really thin as well, isn't she?
Yeah, I think she's...
I think she's on the Ozempic.
There's no part of her that hasn't been operated on. Didn't she have recently had problems with her
She's had some painful butt lift things.
Yeah.
I mean, her breasts are, like, really out there at the moment. But as I read that... I mean, seriously out there.
Out there.
But the face, she looks like, as I say, she looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon. It's all
not a good
wrong.
look.
And she'll have more.
She was a very pretty woman.
Well, she got to the stage where her plastic surgery did make her look quite good, but now she's gone over the peak and she's gone downhill.
I've got to be honest, I don't think plastic surgery makes anyone look good. I mean, it's particularly weird on men.
There's definitely a point at which it goes too far.
If
you're born with a huge hooter and somebody makes it smaller, then that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I give you that. And, it can change people's opinions of themselves and all that kind of stuff. But on the whole, like when men have their eyes done, it looks weird.
Yeah.
They don't look... Do you remember David Hamilton?
Yes.
He had his eyes done.
Did he?
That didn't look right.
I won't hear a word against him.
Right.
Sorry.
He's the Fulham football DJ. Football Club
Jimmy
DJ.
Carr famously talks about it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And says, well, I didn't like looking at my face, so I changed it.
Yeah.
And I mean, but he does look a bit weird as well.
Well,
but he doesn't.
He does. He's got
but he makes no secret
because
of
he
it.
jokes about it. I don't think it matters so much.
Exactly.
It's when you pretend you haven't had it done that I think it's weird.
Do you know who does deny having any?
Who?
Barry Manilow.
He's definitely had it done.
Do you think?
Surely, he had his nose enlarged, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Obviously,
I don't think he had his nose enlarged. I think he had some of his face taken away, so that the nose just took more of the face over.
These people who have absolute crap loads of plastic surgery and then say, "No, I didn't. No, I didn't." It's like, we're not really believing.
I look exactly the same as I always did.
Michael Jackson. He'd never had any surgery.
Jimmy Carr joke. What do Alexander the Great and Winnie the Pooh have in common?
Don't know.
Same middle name.
Very good. Now,
brilliant. I do like Jimmy Carr.
He's funny. He is very good.
Now, I want to talk about Wimbledon, gentlemen.
Wimbledon?
Yeah. Wimbledon makes me grumpy.
Does it?
Yeah. Do you know why? It's not the tennis.
Okay.
It's not the commentary.
Yeah.
It's all the endless...
the BBC.
No, it's not the BBC being terribly sort of tennis-y. No, it is lots of people who can afford to go there, famous people, on a jolly.
Right. Getting a freebie.
Getting a freebie.
Yeah. How do you get those freebies?
Well,
you have to be on a certain list.
I mean, my mum and dad... Now, here's an interesting one, right? So, the Royal Box is under the Kents.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of auspices.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Yes.
The Kents.
Careful how you say that.
Kents,
It's a silent
bunch of Kents.
It's a silent
Duke
U.
and Duchess.
Bunch of Kents.
It's a silent U. Yeah. But so it's under their auspices, right? So when Dad was alive, every year got invited to sit in the Royal Box. And he went, well, I'm not going to say no, right? But, he didn't make a big spectacle of it. He sat there. I mean, I think he fell asleep once.
Okay.
When he died,
never
got invited again.
That was it?
Yeah, Mum never got invited.
No, really?
Yeah, sure.
Well, yes, because they want the pictures, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
that's that thing. It's like now, particularly on Instagram, is you've got all these people turning up in their finery, taking pictures of themselves next to a big tennis ball.
Yeah.
It's irritating.
Yeah.
It's about
so much
the
of that.
sport.
But it's so much of that. Glastonbury's the same. It's all performative. Yeah. It's like, look at me.
I like watching tennis. I actually
quite like watching the tennis during Wimbledon.
I think it is impressive.
Yeah.
I think the fact that because
shame that all tennis players are now boring. It's not what it used to be. I mean, Wimbledon used to be a massive event. When
the last one was Kyrgios, wasn't it?
McEnroe.
I mean, it was phenomenal.
It was that.
I think Djokovic was pretty good. I mean, Djokovic was good for
but he's not he's not a character, is he?
Oh, I think he is.
I think he is.
Definitely.
I think he's got a little bit about.
He's not boring at all.
But it's that the sport is fantastic.
Everybody bores you.
Yeah, that's true.
The sport is fantastic. The tradition of the place, everything.
It looks great.
Spoiled by these half-wits turning up in I'm in a pink double-breasted jacket, eating strawberries and cream with my friend here.
The big story this year is you can get strawberries and cream in a sandwich.
Yeah,
I mean, what a fantastic story.
And also, it's not really strawberries and cream; it's cream cheese.
We got M&S.
Is it?
It's cream cheese. It's not even cream.
What?
So I mean, it's cream cheese.
Why would you want that?
You wouldn't want it in a sandwich.
I mean, look, I know we're all sitting here going, "What do you want that for?" Seemingly, it's their biggest selling product in years.
But that's because they've been hacked, though.
Yes.
Because now they can't tell.
I tried to buy some underwear. It was a disaster.
You got a sandwich instead, probably. Yeah. That's why.
I went in for some pants, came out with a strawberry sandwich.
That's, their sales of things are all to cock.
But do you know what I mean? It's like all of these events now of the season.
Yes.
It's like Ascot, right? Ascot is awful.
Yeah.
It's like, that bandstand in Ascot.
Yeah.
Everyone's, the royal enclosure, and I'm wearing my top hat and my tails and whatever.
And you have to be seen.
It is like the bandstand at Ascot is more dangerous at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon than downtown LA.
Yeah. Did you see that? You will get those two guys having that fight. Yeah. Wow, that was a punch up.
That was a real. But that happens at the races all the time.
Yeah.
These guys are all dressed up in their suits,
blood all over,
and then they're just punching the hell out of each other.
I don't think it kicks off on Henman Hill.
Yeah.
But
do you know that fight though? It proved the dynamic that all fights tend to have. It was one guy was beating the crap out of the other guy, boom, 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 and it's always the guy that gets beaten up. He's like, he gets up, he's got blood all the way down, and he's like, come on, man, come on. No, mate, you just lost.
No,
some drink has been taken, I think, and possibly a few other things.
But all of these events are essentially spoiled by the people who go to them.
They are, which sort of puts everybody off.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go to Wimbledon this coming weekend.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, we look forward to the report.
I'll tell you the report, because I haven't been there since I was a teenager.
Yeah, same.
Because I used to go with my sister when I was at school. We both went to school roughly quite near Hammersmith. We used to jump on the district line, go down to Southfield,
catch the late games.
We'd walk down at about 4 o'clock every afternoon.
And you get the stuff.
We'd get into the ground for free, and then we'd just wait outside Centre Court. And that was in the days when people like Newcombe and Roach were playing.
Yeah,
Kenny Roseball, really old school. Arthur Ashe.
Yeah. They were playing with wooden rackets.
Yes, they did have wooden rackets.
Yes, exactly.
I remember Arthur Ashe, I think, was one of the first to have a metal one.
He was.
Wilson.
And,
Jimmy Connors.
Pancho Gonzalez played a match that we saw that went on until about
Charlie
9:09.
Passerelle.
That's
the
it.
longest match in tennis history.
I mean, we could go through all days, but it was fantastic, but you can never do it now.
Can we move on to ChatGPT types?
Yes. Well, this is another thing that I noticed just the other day. I was walking along the river, which is...
Before we get into this, shall we explain what it is for people who don't know what it is?
ChatGPT, for those who don't know, is a version of AI, an artificial intelligence device, which basically is a useful thing. It's a bit like Google, except you kind of ask it questions, don't you?
Yeah, but you can ask it to do stuff.
You can ask it to write stories.
You can ask it to write stories.
Or you can go, can you put me in a jacuzzi with lots of scantily clad people?
But of course, it doesn't do that. It just creates a picture of you doing that. Yeah. Some people might think that, it can actually do it. Yeah. But I've noticed
very stupid.
a trend. The most recent trend that I spotted as I was walking along the river, there were people. This was coming back last weekend from the sort of lovely weather at the weekend. Came back up to my place, and along the river, there's people sort of sitting outside, in their little garden chairs, because it's not a proper garden, but it's a private road. And there's people sitting there, having beers and picnicking and stuff. And there's this woman
fighting like the bandstand.
Luckily, not fighting. No? It's quite civilised where I am.
Okay.
But this American woman sort of joined the company that these people were all sort of sitting. She was talking about a nearby hotel, and she said, "Well, ChatGPT says it's about 850 yards that way." And I thought, what? What on earth are you talking about? Why have you not looked at a map to see where you're supposed to go? Why are you using ChatGPT to find out where you're going?
Where am I?
And where am I?
God, isn't it?
What am I?
God.
So there's clearly people
You're an
using...
idiot.
Yeah, you're an idiot. You should tell her that and tell her to go back on the plane and get back to America before somebody kills her. But, it's just ridiculous. People seem to be relying on this stuff all the time now. And the problem for me is that it's wrong, right? I watched... It's wrong.
You're right.
It's wrong.
Crap GPT.
No, it's crap GPT. Brilliant. Because that's what it should be called. Because I was watching something just the other day. And it was an interview that somebody on our station was doing with somebody else. And there was another person in the picture. And somebody had asked the question, who's the person in the picture? And ChatGPT said... Oh, that will be the person interviewing them, but when it wasn't, it was somebody completely different. So they choose what they can somehow get.
But
what
the
facts
idea
they can
that
get
it's
their
a
hands on.
reference point that proves you're right.
Yes, it's the new Wikipedia.
ChatGPT
for me,
says.
Yeah,
I don't care what it says.
For me, it's the new Wikipedia, and we used to have to ban young kids that used to come in to work at the Mirror, who would use Wikipedia as a source, right? Yeah. And they'd look it up and go, "Oh, I've got some facts on so-and-so. Here's what Wikipedia says." And you'd go, "You can't use that. Wikipedia's wrong."
Anybody can edit Wikipedia.
Did you miss the bit that said citation needed?
Right. Well, they don't know what that means. No. They've never heard the word citation.
Well, they would now, because they just asked ChatGPT.
They just asked ChatGPT. But the trouble is now people are using it as if it's some kind of, godlike, inspirational truth. Like everything it tells you is true. Half of what it tells you is absolute bollocks.
And also, ChatGPT can't write for crap. He's a really bad writer.
Yeah.
He thinks he's good, but he's not.
I've become more convinced, by the way, that the reason why Keir Starmer's speeches are all so awful
he gets
ChatGPT to do
it. That must be the explanation.
That's how they...
Do you think he got ChatGPT to do his welfare policy?
Almost certainly. I mean, how else can you explain releasing the sausages?
That's what it said.
That's what it said.
Do you think ChatGPT is writing neighbours at war stories in the news?
I do think this is the case. This really getting on my nerves, right? So particularly online newspapers, right? The Daily Mail and all the other papers. So you'll have America just joined Israel in a bombing raid on Iran. This epoch-making historical moment, astonishing. Wow, wow, wow. That'll be second to row over hedge in suburbia.
Yes.
Two neighbours arguing. Clearly, people click on these stories, but it's caused them to proliferate. So neighbours at war has become like a massive story, much bigger in the minds of newspapers than Iran and America at war.
Right.
And I read these stories.
There's a reason for that, though.
I don't get it. I don't find it at all interesting.
Well, have you never had a row with the neighbour?
Well, no, I quite like those programmes, like Channel 5 have a show called Neighbours at War. That's quite good, but in print...
But I think, have you ever had an argument with your neighbour?
Not per se.
Is that because
I always make
your
a point
neighbour
of
is
not,
Stephen
I
Fry?
always make a point of not having, even though my neighbour's Stephen Fry, I don't have an argument with him. Who do you think I am, J.K. Rowling?
What I'm saying is, as a neighbour, you've got very differing opinions.
His previous neighbour was Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah, Gwyneth Paltrow as a neighbour as well, yeah. Which, no, seriously,
I can't believe you've never fallen out.
That was at my other house. Gwyneth Paltrow lived just down the road with Chris Martin. And she came waddling up the road once when Apple was a little girl. And we had this kind of drive, and I was sitting, and the kid comes running into the drive. We had quite a cute-looking little house, and the kid goes, Mommy, can we buy this house? And so I was going, yeah, go on, buy it. And then Gwyneth goes, no, come here.
She could have turned your house into a vagina candle.
I wouldn't have given a damn as long as she gave me a couple of million quid for it.
No.
But I think that Neighbours at War, when they used to have those Neighbours at War programmes, you'd watch it and go, you're both awful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's right here.
It's always about a tree
awful.
or a hedge or a Leylandite for a while.
Yeah,
That was the thing. The Daily Mail for a while became obsessed with
or
Leylandite.
house music.
Yeah.
So the house music plays a big role
absolutely.
in warring
And
neighbours.
people get very worked up about, like, you moved your fence, so now my garden is 1 inch narrower than it was.
Yeah.
It's like, so what?
I once lived in a Muse house in Primrose Hill.
Look at you.
Very nice.
When I first came back from America, and I had a pretty crappy company car which I parked in a garage, and this guy who lived on the opposite side of the wall used to park his car right opposite my garage, which made it very difficult for me to get out. And he was a lawyer, which made it even more delicious. He said, I'm not moving. I said, why are you parking there? I said, park on the street. This is where you're supposed to park. And he's like, I'm allowed to park within 10 feet of the wall which divides our properties. And I went, fine. If you're going to leave it there, I'm going to hit it every day when I come out.
Take company car, so
you're
you
not going
did.
to do that. I said, well, I am. And so every day I just bashed it every day for about 2 weeks. I just kept putting more and more marks and eventually moved it.
That's the great thing about company cars.
There we go. Neighbours at War.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk about reset buttons.
Oi.
This is a good one.
Because
Isn't this the thing that Keir Starmer's hitting at the moment?
Well, over and over again.
Yeah. Reset.
However, his reset button is a little more obvious than most reset buttons.
And it doesn't work.
So, exactly. So, something electrical or integral to your house goes wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Somewhere on it is a reset button.
Yeah.
It's the one thing you need to make it work again.
Right.
It's not obvious where it is. So, we had at home a power cut this weekend. Right?
First time?
The boiler.
Thanks, Ed.
Couldn't get it. No, of course it's not the first time. Couldn't get it to work. Called the plumber out to look at it. You went, oh, it's the reset button down there. Where?
Show me.
Could you show me where that is? Why are reset buttons like so? Yeah, it's just there. You'll need a pin.
Huh?
But why?
What?
Why is the reset button not in an obvious place so that you don't have to
With
spend
a big red thing that says reset button.
Reset, I'll work again if you press this.
But if it's a computer and it's reset, you be careful. You
don't want to
factory reset.
Yeah,
you
you don't want
lose
that.
everything.
Oh, you don't want that.
It just says reset, so you
like-
press it, you lose everything.
But like a waste disposal unit.
Right.
It's a tiny little button, right?
Oh, that
on
one,
side of
the
it.
thing that gets you.
You'd like that.
Oh.
It's like, why isn't it just next to the other button?
Right. No, it's true.
That turns it on.
Yeah.
If it's not working, try pressing this.
Yes.
Why do you hide the reset button?
Yeah.
How does it come unset?
Well,
Why does
usually power surge or a power cut or something like that, or it just stops
It's a bit like you have to
working.
do with a car now sometimes. If the car just somehow, the electrics don't work, you sort of go outside, press the ignition key twice, and then usually it resets it, doesn't it?
But they don't tell you that when they buy the car.
Yeah.
You take it all the way down there, they charge you a servicing thing and go, you just press that twice.
Right.
And then by the time it happens again, you've forgotten.
Of course.
Always.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's part of being grumpy and old. But that's all for this week. Thank you to Kev and Mike, of course. And we will see you next week, where we will continue to be